The Montreal Canadiens just made a huge signing, inking Mike Matheson, their top defenseman this year, arguably, to a 5-year contract extension, and this paints a very clear picture and motivation for the Montreal Canadiens over the next few years with their D-core all now locked up, at least in the top 4, for many years to come. It also opens the door to some other trades down the line. We get to dive into all of this, and look, if you like this contract, leave a like on the video, because I think we can all agree this is much less than Mike Matheson could have gotten if he had gone to unrestricted free agency. They've agreed to a 5-year contract extension at $30 million total, $6 million per year. Extended 5x6 by Montreal. He's a smooth skating veteran defenseman, logs a lot of difficult minutes, and is very involved on the ice. On-ice numbers don't necessarily align with the amount of stuff he does, especially in his own zone, where he's a very active defender. And I think we can all agree, watching Mike Matheson this year has been a revelation compared to last year, where he was making mistakes in his own zone with a younger D-core where he kind of had to be the guy. This year, when he doesn't have to be the guy, again, these numbers don't really paint the full picture that I think is Mike Matheson. You can see he plays against some of the best competition. His actual output on the ice is pretty good. It's just the even strength offense and defense numbers are not great, but that's because Montreal ourselves have not been a great team for a lot of portions of this year at 5v5. We've had stretches that are good or bad, but look, some stat cards actually have him like Rono here, has him in the 93rd percentile on offense, 52nd on defense. So he's one of those guys that, again, like analytics either really agree or really disagree. So it's really hard to pin down the overall impact and value. But ultimately, when you get to this kind of production, 14 points in 22 games, he only had 6 goals all of last year, by the way. This guy's on pace for like 50 points this year, and that is more than we could have ever asked for Mike Matheson. But it's not just the point production. It's the fact that he is working well with the D-core that we now have locked up long term, with guys like Lane Hutson, Noah Dobson. And look, again, the advanced analytics don't paint the best picture, and I'll get into some of that actually here. I was going through a lot of images there. But in terms of on-ice expected goals percentage, Matheson's 5th of all our 7 defensemen at only 40%. Off-ice expected goals percentage is actually 54.5, so when he's on there, the other team's expected to get more goals. But you could also look at it from the fact of Mike Matheson, when he's on the ice, he's defending the other team's best players a lot. This guy's logging like how many minutes a night this year? 25 minutes a night for the Montreal Canadiens. He's on the PK1. He gets all of the toughest defensive assignments. Even when our top defensive forward lines are not out there, it's on Matheson and Dobson or whoever Matheson's skating with at that very moment in a game to really lock down the other team's top players. And so, again, these advanced analytics, like you can look at stuff like this and say, oh, well, is he really worth $6 million a year? I would say yes. A body that can get you 40, 50 points in any given season. Be your top penalty killing option from your defense standpoint. Like, just everything he does, get the points, get the minutes, log so many minutes, and just be reliable is incredible. But if we go back here to our defense, this to me is where it's unbelievable for Montreal. We now have so many guys locked up long term. Lane Hutson after this year, $8.85 million. Mike Matheson going from $4.875 to $6. By the way, if you thought his contract this year was decent, basically that contract to this new one, if you look at the inflation of the salary cap over the next few years, this is actually going to end up being a cheaper, relatively speaking, contract at $6 million than his current contract is, which is incredible, right? If he stays anywhere near this level of impact. So Matheson at $6 million, Guhle at $5.5, Dobson at $9.5, Hutson at $8.85. Your top 4 is all locked up at very reasonable cap hits, and this is a world in the NHL where teams' top 4 defensemen are going to start all making probably closer to $10 million. It wouldn't shock me in the next number of years for teams who have great D-cores to have their second defenseman or even their third defenseman pushing that Noah Dobson number if we're talking 3, 4, 5 years from now. So to add Matheson to this core is incredible, and it gives you, again, it gives you a very interesting outlook of the bottom pairing for defensemen, and that's what I want to get into now, right? So we do have Alex Carrier, who is playing some incredible hockey, really solid contract, right? And then the other guy in the bottom pairing defenseman, well, is it Arber Xhekaj? Is it Jayden Struble? Is it going to be Adam Engstrom? Of course, for now, with Guhle out, we're seeing 2 of those guys, right? So with Guhle out, it does muddy the waters a little bit, and we'll see if he can continue to stay healthy throughout his career. But again, when I'm looking at this, And I see Engstrom, I see Xhekaj, I see Struble, and I'm looking at Mr. 7 points in 10 games in Laval, David Reinbacher, who has been looking absolutely unreal as of late. You just start to wonder, right? How is Montreal going to address this? Now, I don't see the top 5 moving at all, right? We got Carrier, Matheson, Guhle, Dobson, Hutson. It's really that 6th spot. And look, Carrier is going to be a UFA come 27-28, but he's another guy where I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a little bit of a discount. It's a theme right now. Mike Matheson, if he were to go to unrestricted free agency, I don't know how you could say that this guy would not have gotten $7+ million. It seems like, based on a few reports that are out there, that Mike Matheson's market value was $7+ million. So if he had made it to the end of the year as an unrestricted free agent, he would have got so much more money. So he took a discount to stay in Montreal. Hometown guy wants to win with Montreal. We have him under contract now till he's about 37 years old, which is a little scary, but hey, at near the end of that, $6 million is not too bad. We have Lane Hutson, who took sub $9 million to be around here. I know there was other circumstances, but still, right? Like, we got Noah Dobson, who took a little bit of a discount, admittedly, to play in Montreal, the team that he wanted to go to, right? All these guys, even Kaiden Guhle at $5.5 million, if he can stay healthy, is an incredibly low number. So if you want to look at like Matheson, and you want to look at the rest of the guys on the team, I think there's a culture here to take lower money. So if you can get Carrier even at, like, you know, 3-4 million after this deal, I think he's maybe worth more as a 5th defenseman. Hard to say, but he plays some PK. That could work too. But that opens the big question. Now, what do we do with this last, 6th defenseman, 7th defenseman? Because, let's be honest, Arber Xhekaj brings some value to this team that not many players can do. That big body, that physicality, it matters a lot. Jayden Struble has played some of the best hockey of his career alongside Lane Hutson. So these two guys are still fighting for that 7th spot. But even despite that, the Montreal Canadiens see so much in a guy like Adam Engstrom that he gets called up and replaces Arber Xhekaj in a game just kind of out of nowhere. So with so many good defensemen, again, including David Reinbacher, coming up through the system, you have to wonder if a trade is, I don't know if I want to say imminent, but coming soon, because this is something we've discussed a lot, right? There's a lot of people questioning, was Adam Engstrom really just like kind of marketing him? Like, I think I have some quotes on there, and I might have deleted them by now. But like, was Adam Engstrom, is this just kind of a marketing thing? Show other teams, present what Adam Engstrom can bring? Is he going to be a trade piece? You don't know. Arber Xhekaj, Jayden Struble, we know these are guys that have high market value. We've heard of teams offering as much as a 1st-round pick, I think a year ago for Arber Xhekaj. So I'm not saying these guys are definitely going to get moved, but I think this Matheson extension sends the message that, like, we know who our top 4 guys are. And at this point, if you want to play in our bottom pairing on defense, or maybe work your way up if you end up being better, whatever, you got to really prove yourself. And we are looking for, like, the best of the best here. So if you're Xhekaj, if you're Struble, that gives you a ton of motivation. If you're Kent Hughes, it gives you a lot of options to move in a trade. Again, a guy like Engstrom could become a little more expendable now, especially Engstrom playing a somewhat similar game to Matheson in a lot of ways, a smooth skater who has some good offense and some decent defensive upside. Like, he saw that path, and now it's starting to narrow in. There's only 2 spots on the D-core that's not locked up for like 5+ years. So it's going to be very interesting to monitor how Montreal takes this situation and maybe make some moves. Again, like a Mailloux for Bolduc kind of thing. I could see it happening. I don't know if we're there quite yet, but at least in the longer term future, we got to give these guys a chance to show themselves. And look, I'm excited for David Reinbacher. I'd love for him to jump up onto the team. But again, if we want to keep Carrier, is there a spot for him? So anyway, a lot of very interesting stuff. Could Reinbacher be a trade target? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that down below, because that'll do it. But look, I'm happy that Mike Matheson is extending with Montreal. We got a game today, 4 p.m. Eastern. Excited about that. We'll have a video after the game. As always, leave your thoughts on the Matheson extension. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.